Welcome everybody to the very first episode of the Handy Haversack. This is your place for gearing up for your next role-playing adventure. My name is Jeff Romo and I work with InnRoads Ministries, and we're here to basically provide you with new tools, tips, and tricks to enhance your role-playing game experience or perhaps help you launch one of your own. So some of the topics that might come up in these next few episodes could involve the actual game systems that you'd be using. So ranging from the very simple to the even more complex and everything in between. We'll also be taking a look at preparation, game master prep, player prep for an awesome game night, music, ambiance, being able to set the mood and the tone for your game on any given game night. And then also the tools of the trade, things like Roll20, cloud-based information to where you can send that information out to your players so it's at their fingertips. Possibly using a cell phone for other than a distraction, but actually a tool in the game night. And I did mention Roll20 at the very beginning, and that's what we're going to focus on tonight. What I want to look at is what it's like to be invited to Roll20 and then starting that game experience right off the bat. So you may be asking right now, what exactly is Roll20? Well, I'm glad you did. Let's take a look. Roll20 is an experience on a virtual stage. Whereas with most role-playing games, you'll be gathered around a table or safely secluded in your garage or in a comfortable living room and gaming with your chums. Sometimes you're not able to get together in that real space. So that's where the virtual space comes into play. So as you can see down here, this is where people can have live video chat, they can roll dice, they can play with maps, they can send messages back and forth. And the great thing about Roll20 is that it's absolutely free. There are some subscription payments that you can apply for that will give you more access to code writing, designing character sheets, that sort of thing. But I've been using Roll20 for nearly 3 years now, and I have not had a bad experience, and that experience has all been free. So let's take a look at the invitation process. So right here, what you're seeing is a typical email that you might receive if a game master is sending you an invitation to a Roll20 game. It's a quick setup. It's directly from the Roll20 team. You have a link that you can use to go straight to your site. And if you're a first-time subscriber to Roll20, when you get there, all you have to do is put in your name, the username you wish to use, and your password, and you're off to the races. That is it. Sign up is super easy. So with our invitation here, we'll be using our current account that we have at InnRoads. And you can take a look here at what you would see when you first land on the page. What's really cool about this is that you're actually seeing everything that's available to any player in the game. In the middle here, you're going to see your game space. This is where you're going to be rolling the dice. This is where you're going to be taking notes or looking at maps. Down on the bottom left, you have the location of your cameras. Now that I'm doing this recording for you guys, I'm not going to be able to splice my face into that scene right there, but that's where everybody's faces are going to show up. You'll have separate boxes for each player. On the top left, you have a ribbon that gives you the ability to interact with the map and roll dice, measurements, that sort of thing. We'll get into that in just a moment. Over on the right-hand side, you have function buttons that range from a chat window, which is right here, and shows some instructions for various messages and dice rolling that you can do. You have a journal area where you can take a look at different handouts the Game Master has made available to you, and also take a look at your character sheets as well. The little musical note there is for music provided by the Game Master. Roll20 has a great little jukebox that you can actually delve into, bring music into your game that includes not just songs, but sound effects, bullets, arrows being fired, swords clashing, that sort of thing. If you get really good at it, the Game Master sometimes can use these to great effect in the game space. Next off, you can play with cards. They have a deck of cards that you can bring out onto the game space. There's also rollable tables, so you can set up specific tables for your character that applies to a given role. Lastly is the macro area. This is where you can do a few things. Actually, I should call it the gear cog area. I always see the macros first right there at the top. But you'll be able to set macros, which are basically combinations of dice rolls that occur on a given game system. So for instance, with Pathfinder, similar to Dungeons and Dragons of old, you will be rolling a d20, and then you add in certain modifiers, whether it's your strength modifier for a melee attack or your dexterity modifier for an arrow attack. You can combine your regular d20 number along with modifiers built into your character sheet and then control it as a macro. So the great thing here is that you're actually able to have a one button roll, whereas before you got to do all that crazy math. Here you can take it away. Awesome stuff. Other areas here in the cog area, or because it's headed with macros, I like to call it in the macro area, you can set up your name that displays on the picture down below. You can update your 3D enabled dice and all of the various functions that are available, and then you can also turn on and off your video chat ability. So let's focus a little bit more on the ribbon up here on the top left. That's kind of where we can interact with the map, as I said at the beginning. So the top part here is your select and move. So right now it's listing an arrow, and that basically means that I can select an icon. So here I have a character icon that was given to me, or what they call a token that was given to me, to where I can maneuver that around and actually do things with it. You can also switch that over to a pan view so that you can grab the map and actually move it around in different areas to try and find things on the map location. So let's switch that back to an arrow so that we can make selections and move things around. The next step, you can make drawings. That's with the little paintbrush. You can do drawings, you can create freehand, you can make shapes, you can do lines. You can do lines. No, no, no. Kids, stay away from drugs. You can draw lines. You can also do text information as well. So I'll set this up as a higher font so that we can make sure we can see it. You can see an entry I made there earlier, but let's go ahead and throw one down here. So here it is. And when we're on our select option, I can grab that, move it around wherever I like. I can double click it, add more notes to it. If I can spell correctly, if that's possible. There we go. So yeah, you can always make changes in that area as well. You can also use the magnifying glass to zoom in and out of the map. That's also available over on the right-hand side. There's a slide button that you can use to do that as well. This little comb-looking thing is a measuring tool. Right now, my map is set up in meters. So each box represents 1 meter. So you can use this to actually measure off perhaps an area of an effect, targeting, distance to run, that sort of thing. Next up, you have a dice roller. This is just your bare bones basics. You can actually create on the fly, not so much macros, but on the fly dice rolls with modifiers. The top ones are just basic dice rolls. You'll see the screen gray out there, but what I can do is I can actually roll physical d6. Nice looking, right? You can pick out any other dice as well. You can create dice rolls with modifiers right here under the advanced roll area. When you roll those up, it will actually add in the modifiers. You can create other optional settings as well, including target numbers. Down at the bottom of the dice roller box, you can actually see the last 10 rolls that you've made, and you can just re-roll those as you need to. Last but not least on the ribbon, you have the question area. This is where you can pull up the help docs, where you can find out more information about what you can do with Roll20. You can also take a look at shortcut references and then report any bugs that might be occurring. So let's hop on over to the right-hand side. So we're going to scoot over here a bit and take a look at the function buttons. We already kind of ran through what some of those will do for you. So again, just as a quick summary, the chat area is where you can actually type messages. We'll zoom in on that in just a moment. This area here, the journals area, you can pull up different handouts that the Game Master has provided for you, has made available to you. So if I click on body dice here, it's going to provide me with a little handout that I can blow up and take a look at. We talked about the music. We also talked about the deck of cards. And then last but not least, the cog, as far as what kinds of things you can do to set your game experience. So let's focus a little bit on the chat window here at the bottom. So if you go all the way down to the bottom right-hand side, there's a little window there where you can type in messages. In fact, you can see the D6 that I rolled earlier. You see the result of the 3 that we got. Not too great, just average. But you can also type messages down here, so take a look. Again, spelling is a challenge for Mr. Romo here. So you can type in main messages that just show up to everybody. You can do what's called an emote, and there's a lot of other functions just to let you know. So definitely check out the help docs. But here's one that's kind of interesting. Type in an emote, so /EM, and then type in a message. Jeff charges with his sword! Exclamation points. And then it gives a little bit more of a dynamic flair. This comes into play a little bit later when you want to say, I don't know, really spice up a particular role. You can actually build it into your roles. That's at a more advanced class. We'll get to that in another time. So that is Roll20 in a nutshell. When your experience begins in this system, it seems kind of overwhelming in the very beginning because you're looking at all of these different functions that are available. But believe me, over time, it becomes a lot easier to navigate. So thanks again for joining us for the first episode of The Handy Haversack. Again, my name is Jeff Romo with InnRoads Ministries, and we would definitely love it for you guys to come by and check out what we're all about. So come visit us at InnRoadsMinistries.com. You can also look us up on YouTube. That's where you've probably found this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and get other videos. We have a Dungeons & Dragons actual play that's out there already, and then coming soon to a YouTube theater near you, Victoriana. So once again, thank you for all your support. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a great time.